What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to Gorgeous B for the $20 donation via the Cash App. All right, first time donation to the channel. Hope you love the content. Try to do my best. I'm hoping and praying that that B stands for Brenda or Brittany or something like that. Please let it stand for that. But anyway, I truly do respect that you like the channel and that you chose to bless me with a donation. I truly do appreciate it. So look, we all know that the Brooklyn Nets have been an absolute shit show, and they've been a clusterfuck, and that KD is so unhappy there that he was demanding a trade all this summer, only to give in as we near training camp. But one of the stories that came out, because it's not just Kevin Durant, Kyrie's unhappy as well. Go figure. One of the stories that came out is that apparently he does not like Steve Nash, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. As a matter of fact, the story is, if it's to be believed, is that he hates both Steve Nash and Nets general manager Sean Marks. Well, what's the genesis of this? Like what's behind this? Because Steve Nash seems to be a decent person, although I think he's in over his head as a head coach. Well, the genesis of this seems to have started at a party that both he and Steve Nash attended. As a matter of fact, this party was at Steve Nash's house. So who says this? Well, none other than former NBA player Olden Polynice. All right? So Olden Polynice says that, let me get the quote right. One of the reasons why there's issues between he and Kyrie Irving is because of a statement he made during a party at Steve Nash's house, okay? In front of everybody. Kyrie said, you need to give those MVP trophies back to Kobe. You didn't deserve them. This apparently happened at Nash's house, and Polynice says that was the, quote, beginning of the end of the Nets because they don't respect Steve Nash enough to ever succeed in the postseason. Now, this article talks about this as well. Now, if that happened, when did it happen? Because as we all know, Kyrie Irving did not and has not and swore to never take the elixir. So when did this happen? Being at a party during the pandemic with people. I mean, I don't know. It's possible it may have happened in New Jersey. I don't know. But anyway, let's just say for the sake of argument that this is true. Olden Polynice says it's true. How do you feel about this? Well, look, we all say all the time that Steve Nash didn't deserve both of those MVPs. He didn't deserve both of them. However, it's one thing to critically say when evaluating his career, to say, well, he didn't deserve either both or one of those MVPs. Okay? That's one thing. But to be at a man's house, right, while he's throwing a party for your ass to eat, and you have the gall to insult this man like that, I keep trying to tell people, man, the more and more that comes out about Kyrie Irving, the more that I'm starting to understand what that wretched Stephen A. Smith is talking about with this guy. Um, yeah, I agree with Kyrie Irving, but it's a very disrespectful way of saying it to a guy that's supposed to be your head coach. That's very disrespectful to say to him, to his career. Steve Nash may not have been a top 10 all-time player, but let's not turn him into a bum. Okay? Let's not do that. Because that seems to be sometimes what happens with people. Like, let's not do what the LeBron Lick Dicks do. Okay, we don't do that. We still try to give praise to players. But we also need to refrain from trying to make guys into bums or like they weren't all-stars. I watched Steve Nash play. He was an all-star. Was he on the level of Shaq and Tim Duncan and Kobe? No. Okay? But I'm going to say this. There's some people who think Derrick Rose shouldn't have won MVP that year. Some people think it should have been LeBron James. And they have a legitimate argument there. But they gave it to Derrick Rose. My thing is, me personally, I think part of the reason why Steve Nash won the MVP was political, right? The league at that time was lacking in white star power that they hadn't seen since Larry Bird. Also, the league had just gotten a black eye from the Malice at the Palace situation. So, yeah, I do think that first MVP was largely politically motivated, as well as the second one. But he did lead the team to 62 wins. He did improve his play prior to the year before, 2003, 2004, exponentially. So I don't really have a problem with his first MVP. It's the second MVP I have a problem with, 2005, 2006. Yes, the Suns had some injuries. But with that roster, Steve Nash led that team to 54 wins versus Kobe, who played with, in my opinion, the second worst roster in Lakers history. Well, the second worst roster in modern Lakers history since they've been in LA. Only year I think their roster was worse is when the year Kareem won MVP and they only went 40 and 42 or something like that. That's the only year where I think outside of the star player, the roster was worse. In a league where the scoring average was 90, I think 7 points per game. On a team that averaged 99 points a game. Kobe averaged 35.4 points per game. To put that into perspective, in modern NBA, Kobe would have been averaging like 41, 42 points a game. Just ridiculous fucking numbers. Kobe should have won the MVP in 2005, 2006. Despite the fact that they only won 45 games. Given the historical precedent given to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, being that, hey, without Kareem, that team may only win 17 games. Well, without Kobe Bryant, that Lakers team may have only won 20 games without him. He should have won the MVP. If not him, Tim Duncan again. Maybe Shaq. But at the same time, to come at that man like that in that situation, your head coach, and undermine him in front of players, and see, that's the thing. That's what I'm starting to have a problem with Kyrie Irving, man. This is the last year that me as a analyst covering the NBA that I'm going to go light on Kyrie. This is the year because I've been holding off on looking at him like that. But if it's once again a situation where Kyrie is this distraction, I'm going to have to call it what it is. He's the problem. He's the problem. I'm trying to refrain from doing that. But anyway, in a nutshell, yes, I agree that Kobe should have won more MVPs. Shaq should have won more MVPs. But that was the wrong time and place to say that. I know how much Kobe meant to him. I know that. But that was fucking wrong of him to do that. Especially since you picked him as your head coach, man. So that's all I got to say about him. Tell me what you guys think.